Hello everybody, this is Nemodius. I am the leader of the Kingdom Ashes of Creation. Today what I want to do is I want to go ahead and make a better showcase video for my newest obsession, which is the Merc Cryptmaster, is what I call it. This build is designed specifically around Kingdom Defense. However, I will say that this build is very powerful in PvE as well. So I'm not 100% sure yet, because to play it in PvE, I may have to swap out one of the spells to make it more effective. But I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think I may have found the build that I can use for both PvE content and Kingdom Defense. So it's kind of an all-in-one build in that respect. I'm sure you could probably make it work in PvP too, so this may just be that all-in-one build that I have been chasing ever since I started playing this game. I don't know. But today what I want to do is I want to make a better showcase video of what this build can do, because the first time I threw my first video out there, I basically showcased the gear, talked about the spells, talked about all the strategies deep in depth, and then went straight into a attempt at a Kingdom Defense with it. Got a bad board start, didn't really know how to play it because it was only my second time playing the class, or playing the build, I guess I should say. And I ultimately failed. And I made the build look horrible. So I'm going to try to rectify that today. So we're going to try to do a Kingdom Defense and make a lot better impression on you. So real quick, I just want to go ahead and go over the gear again. If you need to, you can pause the video right when I hit the piece so that you can see what it is and what it does, in case you don't know, because the gear selection is crucial to this build. So you really, if you're going to build this, you need to target these specific pieces of gear and just grind till you get them. Color is not 100% necessary, because you could play this build as a rainbow build, and what I mean by that is you could have blue gloves, red armor, yellow helmet, just so long as they are the exact pieces what I'm going to show you. That's what really matters. Okay, so we start with the Royal Longsword, Guard Shield, Savior's Locket, Lucky Clover Ring, Royal Ring, Isgard Bandolier, Royal Boots, Serpentine Pants, Guard's Gloves, Royal Armor, Fallen Shoulder Guards, and last but not least, Savior's Helm. Okay, one thing I want to say real quick about the gear, because this is a question that's come up a lot in my Kingdom chat when I'm talking to my people about this, is they ask me, what is this ring and where did you get it? Where can I find it? Unfortunately, this is the one piece of the gear that if you do not already have it, you cannot get it, because this was a special event item that we got on St. Patrick's Day when the game released on Steam and iOS. Right after it released, it was St. Patrick's Day. They ran this event for like a week, I think it was, or something like that, where you could grind these rings out in different colors and stuff. If you didn't get it then, you can't get it. Hopefully, when St. Patrick's Day rolls around again, they will do this again, because there's so many people that would love to have that and can't get it. That's awesome. If you do not have this ring, I would suggest just running 2 royal rings in its place, because as a lot of people may know, the ring bonuses stack, so you would get Well, at my level, I would get 12 mana of each color per turn when facing an elite. At a lower level, the bonus would be less, but it still stacks. Keep in mind, the bonus on the ring is what stacks, but it does not stack towards counting you to a royal set bonus. So when you wear 2 rings of the same thing, you only have one of them count towards your set bonus, not both. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so now let's look at the spells real quick. The spells are Channel Poison, Find Weakness, Dirty Blade, and Tangled Skulls is just what I threw in there to round this build out and keep the green synergy. That was a tough choice at the end. These first 3 spells are crucial to this build. You have to have these 3 to make this build work in the manner I'm going to show you. This last spell, it's just whatever. A lot of people use a different color spell in there. Like some people will use this one, Pay in Advance, to up their strength and all that stuff. But honestly, in my opinion, it was more important to keep that green mastery so that my mana spell fill rate, which you see right down here, is at a green 4 level. What that means is these spells fill at this rate based on the order I have them in my hotbar. So in position 1, you get the most fill rate. That's 180%. Position 2, you get 140% of green mana from matches going towards filling its bar, and then on and on and on. You can see as it goes up the chain, you get more. Had I put another color spell in there, like a yellow or a red or whatever in that last one, I would drop my mastery, which would drop my fill rate, and that is not optimal in my opinion, because the fill rate causes these 3, the ones I need the most, to be active and ready to go pretty much whenever I need them. So that's crucial. Okay, enough talky. I've got my coffee. I've got my doggy. Everybody in my house is asleep and no distractions. I'll try not to slurp coffee in your ear. Let's go for a kingdom defense attempt to show you hopefully what this build can do. Hopefully this time I won't fail it. Okay, so right now we see that we are on a tier 14 dragon. This build is going to handle everything up to tier 20. It's just going to do it. I know this because I've talked to so many people that use this. They say it's viable all the way up. Other builds may not be, and that's kind of why I landed on this one, because I know it will be. This is not tier 20, but it will perform the same. The play style is still the same all the way up to 20. So let's jump right in and let me get an attempt, and hopefully I get a decent board start and you can see the power of this build. Okay, today I got some green mana, so that's cool. That's going to help me get started. I kind of wish that this dragon was a different color, because right now what's going to happen is we're both going to be fighting for green, and that's going to kind of change the play style just a little bit. On every other color dragon, your number 1 priority is making sure that that dragon does not match their mana. That is number 1. You want to make sure that they do not fill this spell, because that's going to kill the hero, and you can't do crits if you're dead. So number 1 priority, steal their mana. Number 2 priority, match your mana. Number 3 priority, generate skulls and pop off some big crits. Bang monster over the head. So that's the build. Steal their mana, match your mana, make skulls, make crits, bang them over the head. Okay, so with this turn, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and snag this because I can get it. I'm going to pull this one over here so that I can grab this one, And then I'm just going to kind of look and see what's left. I can't do anything with the rest of this green over here, so I'm just going to have to kind of hope he doesn't get it. So I'm going to take these skulls. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'll go ahead and take them so he doesn't take them against me. Not really going to do me a lot of good right now because I haven't built my crit percentage up yet. If you look on my build, this is where I'm starting. I'm starting with 12% crit chance and 260% critical hit damage bonus. That's based on my Citadel selection and my gear. And that's pretty much, and the attributes that are on my gear. That's what's determining how I'm starting right now. Because I have not cast this spell yet, Find Weakness. Find Weakness will raise the critical hit chance and the critical hit damage. That will be what brings your critical hit chance and critical hit damage to the moon. I mean, this spell is so awesome. But I haven't cast it yet, so we haven't got there yet. But that's where I'm starting. I don't expect to get a crit by matching these skulls, but I don't want him matching them on my head either. So, boom. Okay, so first turn, we got lucky and we got enough mana to where we filled our bar. So now we can start running our spells and raising our crit chance, doing our things that we do, get out our toolkit and get to work. He didn't get any mana, so he's at 0. So that's good. This is where we want to keep him at 0, right here. I don't really care about these other spells, because once I get going, my fallen shoulder guards are going to bump my armor up so much that I don't care if he hits me, because he's not really going to do nothing to me. Now watch me die of a one-shot here in a minute, being I said that. Famous last words. But anyway. Okay, turn 2. Now we got to think about what we're going to do with our spells. This one right here, Tangled Skulls, I just kind of cast it whenever because it doesn't really matter. I'm just pop it off right now. You see behind that, there was 2 debuffs that went on there. This spell has a 50% chance to decrease the enemy's power. That's the only real good thing I can get out of it as a debuff. And that's basically the only real debuff that will work on a dragon anyway. It did 9,594 melee damage, which is good. Wither would be awesome, but it does not apply to dragons, so that's worthless. But the 50% chance to decrease enemy power, let's just show you that that did actually hit. I saw the debuff land over his head, so I know it hit. And now you can see right there, that's the decrease to enemy power. Decrease to enemy power caused a decrease in his damage right there. Excuse me. Let me get a drink real quick. The decrease to enemy power is a nice little thing, but it's not really a big deal. It's not going to add up to a whole lot because your build's going to mitigate a lot of that damage anyway. So yeah, that choice was just the best green I could find to throw in there because I wanted to keep this green synergy. We already talked about that. So yeah, I just popped that off whenever. Okay, this one I want to save until I can actually cast this, because Blade for Hire, your ultimate, is what allows you to get your greed gems out on the board, and when you pop those off, you get what's called a stack of greed buff. That's when you want to cast Dirty Blade, because that's going to generate skulls, but only if greed is active. So you have to wait for this one to be able to cast this one. This one, Find Weakness. This is your bread and butter right here. You want to cast this as much as possible, because what that's going to do is, we'll go look again. Critical hit chance is 12%. Critical hit damage is 260. Let's cast it. It also gave me some armor because I'm casting spells, so I get armor every time I do based on my gear. So that's an awesome thing. But the main thing is this right here. Now you see my critical hit chance after I cast that spell has went up to 21%. My critical hit damage is already at 330%. That's crazy. One time, turn 2, I'm already at 21%. The next time I cast that, I'm going to be close to 40. The next time I cast, 2 or 3 times into casting this spell, I'm going to be close to 100% crit rate. So what that's going to mean is every time I match skulls, I'm going to crit. So let's get that going. Now what we're going to do, our other bread and butter, is channel poison. That's going to make green gems so that you can make mana. Now, one thing I want to say about casting this spell. If you're fighting a red dragon, a blue dragon, a black dragon, yellow dragon, it don't really matter when you cast this spell because you're going to get to match it. If you leave any on the board because you've only got one turn left or whatever and you didn't match all your green, yeah, that's bad because then the enemy's going to run in here and match it all up from you and you're not going to get it. This one is especially bad because if I leave a lot of green on the board, he's going to get it and then he's going to kill the hero. So remember to make sure you got some turns left before you cast this spell so that you can actually go in here and clean it up and make sure he doesn't get any. But for now I'm going to go ahead and cast it because I've got 5 turns left. So now I'm going to go in here and try to make sure I clean all this up so that I don't leave a bunch for him. So green mana for me. And then I'm kind of stuck with the rest of this. Can't really do anything with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to get this skull match and see if I can sneak a crit in. Then I'm going to go ahead and get this skull match. Oh, and that dropped it down to where I can actually get this one now. So that's basically going to leave 1-2 pieces of green on the board for him. That's okay. That's not the end of the world. He can't do a whole lot with that because there's not a lot to match with it. So if when this board cycles at the end of when I drop this skull, it didn't drop a bunch of green in, we'll be okay. So we'll go ahead and let this loose and let it play out. Okay, you see I didn't get a crit that time because, you know, my crit percentage is still kind of lowish in the 20s. But guess what? I'm ready to go again. So let's cast it again. And now let's look at our crit percentage real quick. I love this because I love seeing these two stats grow because this is a big deal. 34%. 400% damage now. Turn 3. So yeah, haven't took any damage yet. Armor's growing as we fight. Am I unkillable? I don't know. We'll see. As long as I do not let him match mana, I'm golden. But dadgummit, he got some. So now we really have to pay attention to what's going on. Because we can't let him fill this spell up. That sucks. He got quite a bit out of that, even though I only left 2. That's really crazy. Alright, so for now, I've got 6 AP, but I want to get greed going because I want to start generating skulls so I can start rolling my crits. So I've got greed, my gems, my treasure gems on here. When I bust these out, I'm going to get stacks of greed. So I'll go ahead and hit that one, and then it generated another one, but now I've got a couple stacks of greed. So that when I cast this, I'll get some skulls. I'm going to go ahead and pop this one off too. Okay, so now that's where I'm at with 6 turns left. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast Dirty Blade, get some skulls. And now I got quite a bit of skulls to work with. If my crit chance percent pops off when I do this attack, I'll start to do crits, which is what this build is built around. I have 6 turns left, so I am going to go ahead and generate some mana so that I can, you know, fill some spells and make sure I keep everything topped off. Now, one thing I want to say about before you cast this spell, if you're in a situation where you have a lot of skulls and you haven't matched them yet, probably smart to look at your skulls first before you pop this off, because if there's a lot of big 5-6 row in a row matches, you may want to lock those in place before you cast this, because what this spell will do excuse me, what this spell will do is it will throw a bunch of green out there, and it may change some of your skulls to green mana, and then it may mess up this match, for instance, to where now you can't get it. So look at your skulls first. Okay, that's a 4. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I grab that. And then this one, that's going to be a big one, so I want to make sure I grab that. But I do want to save myself enough turns to be able to clean up some of this mana, because I don't want to leave a bunch. Because if I mess this up right here and leave too much green on the board, he's going to fill this spell next turn and then kill me. So I have to really be careful. So I'm going to go ahead and cast it. Okay, now I got 4 turns to try to clean up all this green. So I'm going to go ahead and take... I know that that skull could slide over here and match, but then that would short me on this mana right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this mana match, because right now my goal is to get as much of this green off the board as I can. So I'm going to take this one, because I do not want to leave him anything. Top priority, do not leave them mana. Okay, there's this one. And then I've got one more turn. So to capitalize, I would like to get rid of green mana, but I can't move this one anywhere to do any good. So that one's dead. Can't do anything with this one, that one's dead. Can't do anything with this one, that one's dead. Can't do anything with this one, that one's dead. So my best bet now is to just look for the best skull match that I can get. This one right here would give me 3. This one right here would just give me 2. So this one's probably the best match out of them all right here. Okay, cross your fingers that he doesn't match a bunch of mana, because that could go bad if he does. But hopefully we'll get a big crit started here. Still didn't get a crit, dadgummit. Okay, and luckily he didn't match any mana. So we're golden. We're golden. We're going to get it going this time. Because now we're going to be able to cast Find Weakness again. We've got 10 action points, so we've really got choices now. Let's look at our crit rate and our crit damage bonus again. Now we're up to 51% with a 500% crit damage bonus. This is where I should start really critting whenever I match skulls. So tangled skulls, just whatever, pop it off whenever you feel like it. It did not decrease his power that time. Oh well, we don't really care. We're just extra damage, whatever. Greed is still active, so if I wanted to, I can either get green mana or skulls. Right now, I really want to get my crits going, so I'm going to get some skulls out there. The more skulls I match, the bigger the crit's going to be. I'm going to look at them real quick just to make sure that I don't mess up any big matches. This one would be pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and take that. Got plenty of action points this time. Gonna go ahead and lock this one in. This is a big gem, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that one. And that's pretty much it. Oh, I can get this one real quick. This is just a 1 skull match though, so I'm gonna save it because I've already got a ton of skulls going, so it's not crucial. But now I'm gonna get some mana in here because I want to try to get these big gems matched up. That one I'm going to match up. That one I'm going to match up. I don't really see a benefit either way. This one I'm going to match up. So as you can see, I'm going to end up leaving some mana on the board, and that's unfortunate. But it is what it is. I can't match it anymore. So I really can't do anything with it. I'm going to leave these 2 up here. I'm going to leave these 2 right here. I'm going to probably leave this one. All this is going to drop down together, so he's probably going to get this group. And yeah, that sucks. Also, I know I've told in the past on some of my videos that now with the new action point system, I really don't see the relevance in matching a lot of other colored gems. I forgot about some of the bonuses that was on my gear, like my royal chest piece and stuff like that, that actually give me bonuses to my defense when I match big gems. So even if these were purples and reds and yellows, if they were big gems, I would go ahead and try to match them to get those set bonuses. These aren't, so I'm not going to worry about them. So I guess what I'm going to do is just leave the board where it's at, because I just really can't do anything else with it, and I can't cast any more spells. So I'm just going to end turn, hope for a big crit, Cross fingers that he doesn't match a lot of mana. He's at 54, so one good match could put him at the level. So cross fingers here. Oh, he's gonna get a lot of mana right there. Dadgummit. Okay, but we got our first big crit, 488,000. Okay, unfortunately, he got a ton of mana. He almost failed his spell. So what that means is, if I screw up and leave more mana on the board in the next turn or two, we're going to end up getting killed. It would be really sweet if I had an extra green spell that would allow me to drain their mana. That would be sweet. That would make this build just like the best. But there is no... The debuff won't work on dragons anyway. Even if you did have a spell that would decrease mana, it wouldn't work on a dragon. This one decreases power, and that's like the only debuff I can find that actually works on dragons. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to do. Tangled Skulls, just whatever. It did decrease his power again that time. So, you know, if you wanted to, you could go look at your stats and see where that's at. Alright, we've got 3 stacks of greed, so we're doing good. So let's go ahead and, we'll just go ahead and pop it off and see what it does. We'll get that one. Kind of just keep our stacks of greed going. And I'll just go ahead and get rid of this one too. You see, when you pop the greed off, you do get the mana and you do get the skulls from what it destroys. I'm still trying to feel that one out about when's the best time to pop off your greed and all that. So I'm still going to have to really experience the build more before I come a master with that. But I will say that you have to keep greed going over here so that your dirty blade spells will generate skulls. So it's important to actually keep some greed, you know. Whether or not it plays out the best on your board when you do it, I'm still trying to feel that one out. Okay, we're going to go ahead and generate skulls. And then we're going to go ahead and up our crit chance again and damage. Let's look and see where we're at on that. Love looking at this. 68%, 590% damage. So the longer we survive, the higher that goes. This one, and you notice they're in the fill state because I popped off the treasure gem. Be aware that you can still cast the ones that are full in this state. Like right now I'm clicking this one, it's doing nothing. If I was to click this one, even though it's in the process of filling, it would still go off. So, you know, be aware you can do that. Okay, so I'm going to look at my matches real quick just to make sure that I don't mess up any of my skull matches, because crits are where it's at, baby. Okay. I've been having bad luck with cleaning up my mana, so instead of taking this last little skull here, I'm going to save all these action points for mana cleanup, because I do not want to let him get any more mana. That first crit we had though, that was 488,000. So yeah, that was the first crit we got. As they go along, they're just going to get bigger. So that right there should show you what this build can do. That was the first crit, and that was like turn 4, 3, 4, something like that. You usually start to crit about turn 3, turn 4. If you get lucky, you get your crits earlier on your lower crit hit percent, but you know, turn 4 is where it really starts to crit. Okay, so now I got a lot of green. I got to clean it all up. I'm not going to try my best to leave him any green. Okay, these 2 pieces right here. Oh, let's see. Is there any way I can get these? No. Nope. Nope. We'll get that one. And I just don't see any way I can clean these 2 pieces up. I have no spell left. I really don't have any matches left as far as green or skulls. So yeah, it really ain't going to do me any good to match this stuff because I'm not worried about trying to get anything else to drop in on the board. So these are not big gems, so they're not going to give me my bonuses on my gear. So I'm just going to leave them because they're not hurting anything. They're not green, so they're not going to be mana he's going to get. So unfortunately, I'm going to end the turn with 3 AP and see what happens. He's at 108. pray that he does not get a bunch of green drop in. Okay, some green dropped in, but it does not look like he's going to be able to match it. Awesome. And I didn't even notice whether I got a crit that turn or not because I wasn't looking at it. So if I did, you saw it. I didn't. So okay, so let's pop our greed. We've got 5, so we've got plenty of greed left to keep this power going. I'm going to go ahead and do some. Now, one thing about these treasure gems, let's say you were fighting a red or a yellow or something like that, and there was mana in line with one of your treasure gems. This is a good way to snipe that mana from that dragon to keep it from getting it. Like, say if he was a yellow, I could take 3 pieces of yellow away from him by popping this treasure gem off, and it may be something that I can't really match to get rid of. So that's another way that you can get rid of their mana. Remember, number 1 priority, keep this mana down. Don't let them get it. Okay, so now we're gonna raise our crit chance. Let's look at that again. Sorry to keep dragging you back here, but this is just really good. Okay, look at this. We're at 93%, 670% damage boost. We're at the point to where we're going to crit every time we hit now. There's just no way around it. So now what I'm going to do, I've got 10 turns. Pop this off because I can. And he got a debuff to his power. Let's see where we're at on that just for kicks. Right now we've dropped his power 4,107 with 2 applications of that spell, and that means that his damage is 4,107 less. This is what he's doing now versus 40 something at the start. So, you know, cool. I don't know. It doesn't really matter though, because your gear is going to make you survive anyway. Going to look at my skull matches before I pop my channel poison. Actually, let me do this real quick. Okay. Now I'm going to look at my skull matches. Make sure I get them before I mess them up. Okay, that looks good. So now I'm going to pop this off. Oh, shoot. I should have did my dirty blade first and got more skulls on there before I did that. Oh well. A few missteps here and there won't matter too much. I mean, it will, but we're good at this point, I think. Oh shoot, I should have thrown that over here so that I could have filled this. Now I'm going to leave that on the board. Dadgummit. See that? You got to pay attention because I dropped this gem down here to make this match, but what I should have done was take it and pulled it over here. That way I could have took all this out. Now I'm going to leave it. Oh, I can't get this big one either, so that's going to get me maybe. Can't do nothing with this. Can't get that one in there. That was about the last match that could be made. Ooh, look at that. 794,000 damage. And unfortunately, he was able to fill his spirit breath bar. So what that means is I'm going to die. But I've already done, who knows, 1,700,000, 1,500,000, something like that in one turn. That's awesome. And I normally can keep this worked down. Oh, come on. Oh, okay. I normally can keep this work down to the point that I don't have to worry about it because I take all their mana as a top priority. This one was a little difficult because I'm generating the mana he wants too, so it makes it a little bit harder for me to keep it beat down. Okay, so we'll go ahead and finish this out because I'm not sure if I'll die next turn or what. Generate some skulls. Doesn't really matter at this point about anything because we know we're just going to get killed. But we're going to just do what we can do. Definitely try to get all the skulls you can because you want to finish strong. We'll raise our crit damage boost so that we can do more damage on the crit that we're fixing to do. He's already got it full, so yeah, we'll just go ahead and generate some more green just for kicks. Make sure we fill all these skulls. Not really a whole lot you can do at this point because you know you're going to die. And this is basically the only way this build can get killed, is if you let him fill his spirit breath. Let's look at our crit. Boom, 371. Alright, he took me down. Let's see what damage we did though. 2 million. I mean, come on, that's good damage. And had I had a different color dragon to where I could have kept his mana off the board completely, this build can go for infinity. I mean, I could kill the dragon myself in one turn if I had a different color dragon and a good board start. And it doesn't really matter. Even if you don't get a good board start, you can still pull it out. Because let's say I had a bad board start and I didn't have enough mana to get any spells going until turn 2, turn 3. That's okay. Because as long as you match the enemy's mana and keep him from filling his spells, it just takes you longer to get going. That's all. That's what I've learned. At first I thought a bad board start automatically signaled a death sentence. But that's not true. It just takes you longer to get it going is all. But just remember, number 1 priority, steal enemy mana. Number 2 priority, match all your mana. Number 3 priority, use your spells, get your skulls going, match skulls, beat them over the head. That's how you play this build, I think. And that's the results right there. You can see 2 million damage. Could have made a couple of choices that were better and could have kept alive longer, but I'm not going to complain with that, you know, because I can do this at a level 20 dragon too. This build's viable all the way up. So anyway, I am Nemodius. I am the leader of the Kingdom of Ashes of Creation, and I hope that this was a better showing for you so that you could actually see what this build can do. So thanks for watching my video, and I will see you next time.